Hello friends, today's movie is 10 Cloverfield Lane. At the beginning of the story, we see a young woman named Mitchell who has been kidnapped. However, a man named Howard comes in and tells Mitchell that she hasn't been kidnapped but also can't leave the place. He gives her the keys and leaves. Mitchell changes her clothes and tries to call the police, but the call doesn't go through due to poor network connectivity. Howard comes back and this time Mitchell tries to attack him, but she fails and loses consciousness. When Mitchell regains consciousness, Howard reassures her and warns her not to try to escape. He explains that he is keeping her there for her own safety because everyone outside is dead and the air is toxic. He claims that if she breathes it, she will die. The next day, Mitchell notices that the door to her room is open. She gathers her courage, steps out, and discovers she isn't alone. She meets a man named Emmett, who is injured but doesn't appear to have been forcibly kept there. Mitchell tells Emmett she wants to leave, but he insists that the air outside is polluted and dangerous. According to Emmett, the bunker is the safest place and they are completely secure there. Mitchell struggles to walk, so Emmett helps her, but Howard doesn't like it when Emmett gets too close to Mitchell. Howard warns Emmett to stay away and closely monitors Mitchell's every move, even accompanying her to the restroom. Although both men appear to get along with her, Mitchell remains suspicious of Howard. Howard later takes Mitchell upstairs and shows her that the air is indeed toxic. Mitchell looks outside the bunker through two layers of doors and sees several dead animals, which Howard says shouldn't have been exposed to the air. This convinces Mitchell, but she then spots a car and remembers it's the same one that hit her on the highway the night she was kidnapped. She realizes Howard has been lying about the poisonous air to keep people from leaving. Even Emmett can't confirm whether the air is actually bad, as he only knows what Howard told him. Emmett had willingly come to the bunker after Howard, who had built it years ago, invited him. Howard was always paranoid that Earth would be attacked, but Emmett didn't believe him until he saw something in the sky. Panicking, Emmett ran to the bunker where Howard was closing the door. Emmett managed to get inside but broke his arm in the process. Emmett tells Mitchell that he is unsure if the air outside is clean or not, but he believes what he saw was real and doesn't want to take the risk of leaving. Mitchell, however, remains determined to escape. She tells Emmett about her plan, but Howard overhears and warns them against leaving. Howard doesn't like how much Emmett talks, and his frustration grows. One day, Mitchell notices Howard has the keys to the door. To provoke him, she starts talking affectionately to Emmett and touches him, which enrages Howard. In his anger, Howard demands that Mitchell apologize, but during the commotion, she manages to steal the keys. For the first time, Emmett sees Howard lose his temper. Meanwhile, Mitchell hears the sound of a car outside. She attacks Howard and tries to escape. Despite Emmett's attempts to stop her, she unlocks the first door and is about to open the second when she sees a woman outside begging to be let in. Howard tells Mitchell not to open the door. Mitchell, terrified by the woman's condition, watches as the woman bangs on the door violently, unable to bring herself to open it. Mitchell backs away. Howard later admits to Mitchell that he was the one who hit her car that night. He insists it wasn't intentional but rather a desperate attempt to get her to the bunker. He apologizes and gives her clothes that belong to his daughter, Megan, who is no longer alive. Mitchell stitches up Howard's injuries from the altercation and starts to believe they may have to stay in the bunker until the situation outside improves. Mitchell feels terrible for the woman, but Emmett reassures her, saying it's not her fault. Even if the woman had come inside, they wouldn't have been able to save her. With time, the three of them begin to settle into their lives in the bunker. Howard sets rules for how things should work, and the dynamic between them starts to improve. Mitchell stops thinking about escaping for the time being. During this period, Howard tells them about his daughter Megan, who he says left him. One day, strong vibrations shake the bunker, and Howard explains that they are the ones who have made the air outside poisonous. The vibrations cause the air filter system to break, and Howard insists it needs to be fixed. Mitchell volunteers, saying she is the only one small enough to reach the damaged area. She climbs up and adjusts the filter, but for the first time in days, catches a glimpse of the blue sky above. As Mitchell moves higher, she notices a window. When she reaches out to touch it, she sees the word help scrawled on the window in blood. Mitchell realizes something is being kept from her. While investigating, she finds Megan's earring, which is stained with blood. She shows a photo of Megan to Emmett and tells him she suspects Howard did something terrible to his daughter. Emmett takes a closer look at the photo and realizes it's not Megan at all. Instead, he recognizes the girl in the picture as someone who went to his school and disappeared 2 years ago. Looking at additional photos of Howard with the girl, Emmett and Mitchell conclude that Howard kidnapped and killed her. Emmett decides they need to take Howard's gun, as he won't willingly give up the keys to the bunker. However, they also need a way to ensure the outside air stays out if they attempt an escape. Emmett gathers tape and scissors but needs a curtain to use as material. He tricks Howard into believing the curtain is contaminated, promoting Howard to remove it and throw it in the trash to avoid infection. Later, Mitchell retrieves the curtain for their plan. Emmett's idea is to take Howard's gun, tie him up, and then decide who would leave the bunker. That night, the three of them play games together. Howard remains unaware of their suspicions or plans. However, at midnight, Howard comes to Mitchell's room asking for help to move something heavy. Emmett notices the object is filled with strong acid. Howard, holding a pair of scissors, confronts both of them, asking what they had been planning behind his back. Howard had started to grow suspicious and wanted to know who had come up with the idea. Emmett takes the blame and lying to Howard. He tells him that he tried to take his gun because he wanted Mitchell to fear him as much as she fears Howard. Howard turns to Mitchell and says, "You see, this guy? He is not who you think he is." Then Howard asks Emmett if he regrets his actions. Emmett, trying to de-escalate the situation, says yes and apologizes sincerely. Howard appears to forgive him, only to suddenly shoot him. It becomes clear that Howard is a kidnapper and serial killer who captures women to keep them with him. Howard had been waiting for Emmett to make a mistake so he could justify killing him. Now Mitchell is left completely alone. She breaks down in tears, looking at Emmett's belongings and mourning his loss. Without Emmett, the bunker becomes unbearable. A hellish prison reigns, where Howard reigns as a devil. Determined to escape, Mitchell decides she must get away at any cost. She begins secretly preparing a protective suit to shield herself from the possibly toxic air outside. One night, Howard searches her room. He doesn't find anything at first, but then a screw from the vent falls, revealing that Mitchell has been hiding something. Realizing this is her last chance, Mitchell locks Howard in a room and runs toward the gate. On her way, she sees Emmett's body is still decomposing, but she pushes forward. Howard manages to free himself and chase Mitchell, attempting to attack her. In a desperate move, Mitchell tips over a barrel of acid, splashing it onto Howard's face and severely burning him. She immediately runs to retrieve her protective suit, but Howard follows her. During their struggle, a fire breaks out, engulfing the entire room. But the key was still with Howard, leaving only one way of Mitchell to escape. She tries to crawl out through the vent, but Howard repeatedly attacks her with a knife. However, Howard succumbs to the acid and fire, burning to death. Mitchell manages to escape the bunker and breathes a sigh of relief. Soon after, she notices a cut on her suit and quickly seals it with tape. Fortunately, the poisonous air does not enter her suit. Then she spots birds flying in the sky and begins to wonder, if the air is toxic, how are the birds alive? It becomes clear that the story about the poisonous air was a lie. In reality, Howard didn't want anyone to leave the bunker, especially not the girls he captive. Having escaped the clutches of a serial killer, Mitchell feels relieved, but her troubles are far from over. Suddenly, there is a vibration and Mitchell notices a spaceship hovering in the air. Massive explosion follows, pulling the spaceship towards Mitchell. She then sees a creature emerge from the spaceship and approach her. Mitchell tries to hide and protect herself, and she soon realizes Howard was right. There really has been an alien attack on Earth. These aliens are destroying everything in their path. While Mitchell is looking for safety, she spots a bright light and believes it to be a rescue team. She runs toward it with all her strength, only to discover it is the same spaceship. The ship releases a gas that causes the creature to flee. Mitchell quickly puts on her protective suit and seals her neck with tape. Soon after, tentacles begin pulling the spaceship toward themselves. Mitchell realizes it's not a spaceship, but a monster consuming everything in its way. As she contemplates giving, a liquor bottle falls from the back seat of her car. Using it, Mitchell prepares a Molotov cocktail. This explosive catches fire upon impact. When the monster opens its mouth, Mitchell throws the flammable alcohol into it, causing a massive explosion that kills the creature. The blast sends Mitchell's car flying several feet, but she survives the crash. Afterward, Mitchell gets into her car and drives away. However, after traveling a short distance, she hears an announcement on the radio. The military is calling for survivors to gather at a safe zone. They explain that aliens are trying to take over Earth, but desperately need help from anyone who can fight or provide medical training. Mitchell could have driven to the safe zone, but she realizes she is no longer the same weak person. She had fought both the monsters from outside and the monsters hidden within human. Now she has a chance to help others, determined not to let anyone die unnecessarily, as Emmett did. Mitchell turns her car toward the danger zone, and with that, today's story comes to an end. I hope guys you enjoyed this story. If you liked it, please like, share and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video. Till then, bye bye, take care.